Should I do this in Chinese or in English?
Can you do it in Chinese?
No.
Well, and actually we have people that speak Chinese that watch Autism Hangout, so you would be busted, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would be busted, seriously.
Dr. Stephen Shore, star of Autism, it's so nice to have you in the cold state of Minnesota for a change.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. It's great to talk about autism and success for people on the autism spectrum and how we can build that success.
Today's program is called Advancing with Autism, and it is at Dakota County Technical College in Rosemount, Minnesota. You were one of the keynotes. In 3 minutes or less, can you give me the highlights of what you're going to talk about?
Oh, indeed I can. I'm going to focus on what we can do to promote success for individuals on the autism spectrum. And in particular, I'm going to focus on sensory issues, self-advocacy, getting into and staying in higher education, the hidden curriculum, and also what can be done to make school friendly for individuals with autism or Asperger's syndrome, and at the same time, what can we do to prepare them for continuing education?
When you say hidden curriculum, what does that mean?
Well, hidden curriculum, as defined by Brenda Miles and colleagues, consists of the rules that everybody knows about, nobody talks about, but if you don't know these rules, you get into trouble really, really fast.
Okay, so they're mostly social rules?
That's right, they're social rules.
What can colleges do to ensure the success of these kids in being able to find work?
Well, one thing the colleges can do is identify the strengths of individuals on the autism spectrum, and then what can be done to focus and mold these strengths into areas that are in demand by employers.
What do you think are some of the biggest strengths of people with Asperger's today that are recognized?
Some of those recognized strengths are in the IT industry, but also we see people on the autism spectrum having strength in the arts and many other areas. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that the strengths of people on the autism spectrum are just as varied as everybody else's. However, for those on the autism spectrum, they're to a greater extreme. And what that also suggests is those challenges are going to be greater.
How can colleges help a student identify their gifts?
Educators, the professors are on the front lines of that. If you know your students, you become aware of their strengths. And once you're aware of their strengths, you can guide them where they can use those strengths for employment. So really it's a matter of getting to know your students. There are a number of assessment tools for identifying strengths. However, people on the autism spectrum often don't test well.
You teach where today?
Today, I teach at Adelphi University.
Okay.
I am an assistant professor of special education, and my research focuses on helping those individuals on the autism spectrum lead fulfilling and productive lives to their greatest potential.
Being somebody that's on the spectrum, I know that you are highly sensitive to sensory issues as it relates to a building or a classroom. In fact, I noticed when you came in, you have your ever-present hat with Bill to keep canned lights or other fluorescents from interfering. Is part of your talk today addressing a number of the physical sensory constraints in a building of higher education?
Indeed, I will. A good part of my presentation will focus on how can we help individuals on the autism spectrum first become aware of what their challenges are, and here we're talking about sensory issues, so it could be recessed lighting or downlights, fluorescent lights, noise, or whatever it might be. One, to be aware of those challenges. Then, after we have that foundation of awareness, getting to the first step of self-advocacy, which is scanning the environment and identifying where those challenges are, be it a fluorescent light, recessed lighting, or whatever it might be. And then upon identifying that challenge, getting to the second step, which is developing an effective advocacy plan. So being able to advocate for oneself and state one's needs in a way that the other person can understand and provide support. So not having a meltdown, not biting the professor, not screaming, kicking, or throwing over desks, but being able to calmly say, where I am seated is under some recessed lighting, and sitting under recessed lighting is like looking into a spotlight for me. So I wonder if I can move my seat. The third part is the disclosure. You have to give a reason why. And depending upon the situation, you might choose to say, I have sensitive eyes, these lights give me a headache, or you could go for the full disclosure. I'm on the autism spectrum, and this is one of the characteristics.
Dr. Short, I'm so grateful that you're on the front lines helping us all learn how to not just live with autism, but to thrive with autism. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for your 5 minutes this morning.
You're welcome, and it's my pleasure and my honor to do so.